PowerTalks, wise words from wise women. In this interview series, I talk with women who are at the top of their game, and they share their practical wisdom to help you maximize your leadership impact. And today, I have the extreme pleasure of having with me Marlo BROOKE as our guest today. And Marlo is currently the CEO and the founder of Avatar Partners. What I do know for sure is that she's on the cutting edge of technology. And she's here with us today to talk about her journey building a multi-million-dollar business in a very male-dominated industry. So Marlo, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And you know, I am just in awe of you, I have to say, ever since I met you. And I don't just say that lightly to flatter you. And your entrepreneurial journey, just building this company, is such a story in itself. So if you could just walk us through a little bit of your journey, of the story of how you started Avatar Partners.
So I was doing software sales, and I was in love with technology when I was going through college. Even though I did not major in engineering, I majored in liberal arts. In fact, at that time was pretty much, all men selling, and you had to have an engineering degree to get into, any aspect of it. But, from my heart, I just absolutely love technology. My first lucky break was in software sales, selling actually fourth generation software languages. So kind of low level software development tools. So I did really well. By the time I graduated college, I already had a career. And by the time I was 28, I bought my house. I was, single. I was doing great, making money. I had built up a channel in Southern California with about 30 partners. And, we went from doing 4 years prior doing $50,000 a year in the entire Southwestern US to about $30 million a year. It was exciting. And then 9/11 happened. And 9/11, we all have our personal story about that. But that hit me hard, just as it hit most Americans. And I just lost motivation for what I was doing. It no longer became about money. It became about, why am I here on this planet?
Right.
And what can I do to make this world a better place every day? But I did know that in my heart, I wanted to give back. So that's when I founded Avatar Partners.
Wow. That's just not only a motivating and inspirational story, but also a heartwarming story. I talk to people all the time who have great ideas, and they also have a mission, right? So they think of themselves as someone who has a mission to make the world better. But you actually went and executed on that idea and that mission. And so how did you go about doing that?
Well, it was most certainly a day-by-day experience. I never had any leadership experience. It was a great thing because I love to learn and I love to grow my own skill sets. Even prior to starting Avatar, being in the software engineering world, I was frequently the only woman in the room. Actually, today, X many years later, I still frequently am the only woman in the room. To give you an example of how strange this was, it's that when I had started the company, Avatar Partners in 2003, I printed business cards, of course, and I had my title, CEO. I was very excited. But even when I went to customers that I already knew, they were totally closed to the idea of working with me because I was a woman-owned company.
Yeah.
And they would literally ask that question. This company is owned by a woman, by you.
Wow.
It's not owned by any other man. No one else owns it. No, it's me. I'm a woman. Yeah. And so I thought that's strange, but that's not going to stop me. So I did this test. I made new business cards. I made myself a new name, consultant, nice and bland, right? And then I had my first employee who I had hired, about 6 months after I started the business. He was an older white male, and I made him CEO on his business card.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And when I went alone or with him to these business calls, and I said, he owns the company and I'm a consultant, it was like, no problem. Tell us what you can do for us. So that's how I started to get deals. No kidding.
And so how did you navigate that challenge going forward? I mean, obviously at some point you let go of that and you built your credibility, but it sounds like just to build the credibility, you almost had to take a step back and pretend that you didn't even run the company. I mean, that's a phenomenal story. So how'd you overcome that?
So we were able to bridge the gap and get into doing defense work, which was near and dear to my heart, at the time, of course, and still is. What I found there is I still had the name consultant. I figured if it was working, don't break it. But I started to build a company, bring in, people to do this work. So I essentially was acting as the CEO, but it was kind of like behind the scenes. I was more of a program manager or, whatever the title is that they wanted to hear is what the title that I said I was, but I still got the job. We still got the job done. It was maybe, 6 or 7 years later into this when we had a pretty stable base of business and we had proven ourselves and we had very good reputation, where I basically just, came out of the closet as the CEO and founder. And it was really funny. I still get people who say, you know what? Congratulations for being promoted at Avatar.
Wow.
Thanks. I think it also takes a level of confidence. And when I had started the company, I was very young. That alone is a barrier. They see a young girl. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but I think it's getting easier.
It took a lot of putting aside your own ego. It took a lot of meeting customers where they are. It took a lot for you to do what you did, because some people would not have done that. What lesson do you take away from that?
I learned my strength, but it's been a soul journey to find that inner strength day after day over 17 years.
Yeah. Looking on the outside, they look at many of the powerful women I work with, and they look at them and they say, wow, they just have it all figured out and they know everything. And yet, there are all these challenges that are behind the scenes that people have no idea and don't see.
One of the things is I really didn't have a strong role model to base my life on, that I knew personally. That would have helped. And
right.
That's the thing that I'd like to, give to, young women is that encouragement that they can be anything they choose to be. And to take any challenge and any setback as nothing but an opportunity to learn. You never learn from your successes. We only learn from our failures. But the only time that we truly fail is when we stop trying.
Wow. That's what this whole series is about, is, sharing these wise words from wise women, because we don't really always share these pieces of ourselves or share this part of the journey. We share, the images of success, or, look at me, or what's the outside look like. And these are all real moments and real struggles along the way. What I will ask you, and I know our viewers are dying to know this, I mean, you're a mother of 2 small children. You're running a multi-million-dollar company. That's hard. And so how do you realistically do it all? And what are the trade-offs for you? I mean, I'm sure people would love to hear that from you.
Sure. As a single mom, my children are 7 and 10. It's having the right people that I can rely on to delegate to, that I can focus. And I've had to really learn this the hard way, because when you grow a business from one person to, a dozen people to 2 dozen people, et cetera, to 50 people, you have to give up certain controls. I do. Everyone does.
Everybody does. Yeah.
So I've had to change the way I manage, and that has been painful. It really takes, ultimately it takes humility.
Back to that one again, right?
Yeah, to know what I don't know and to bring in the expertise that I need is learning to know what skill sets I need, and then being able to see the skill sets in other people and how they can complement me, and not being surrounded by yes people. Don't ever be surrounded by yes people.
And that's one of the biggest challenges I hear from, as you know, is even most of my clients, is that exact thing, is, asking for help and being able to give up control and getting the right help. And so it sounds like that's part of the secret of making it all happen, actually, even as a mom. What parting words of wisdom would you have for women entrepreneurs who are looking to you for advice on what they should be doing in growing their business or becoming a successful businesswoman, etc.?
I would say surround yourself with supportive people, keep an open mind, and also stay grounded. Stuff doesn't magically happen, and it's hard work. It's hard work to grow a business. You can do it if you put the effort in. Even if you're not successful in one path, it'll lead you to another path. Again, you never fail unless you stop trying. So never stop trying.
Wow. Words of wisdom from a wise woman. Marlo, thank you so much for being here today. I really, really think that the people watching this will greatly benefit from your insights today. So thank you.
It's an honor, Janet, as always, to talk to you. Thank you for everything.
Take care.